Welcome to another episode of Tell Me More. I'm back, and today we have Katy and Connor with us. Connor preached a great sermon on Sunday, and we walked through what discipleship looks like, how we think about a theology of the end times and what it means for us living today, and what's going on in the college ministry and how you can partner with them in prayer. We hope it's a really formative episode for you, and we're glad you listened.
Hey friends, we are in the podcast studio. We're already rolling, so we're just going to hop right in. But I'm excited. Dr. Wiles is still on study leave, although he and Cindy have made it back to the U.S. Our friend Luke is back, acclimated, time change.
Yeah, I think I'm over jet lag.
Okay, he's back. And so he's in the studio with us. We're excited to we can get a little catch up from you as well.
Yeah, we'll do a little bit.
And then our preacher from yesterday, Sunday, is Connor Toreallaba. And we're very excited to unpack the sermon and get to visit with him and catch up on life in the college ministry and all of that.
Whoop, whoop.
What we were talking about we were midstream and we decided to just go ahead and hit record is the Marvel DC cinematic universe. There's two different cinematic, because we started with Superman, but we jumped quickly to Marvel. We don't have to spend a lot of time on it. But what I was saying, and I wanted to kind of hop in, when I was college minister at Baylor, they were really into Harry Potter. So I got the books, read most of them, half of them actually, and then watched all the movies so I could keep up and talk to them about Harry Potter.
Okay.
When I moved up here, they were really into Marvel.
Yeah.
And that was when you kind of had to still
comics?
rent stuff.
Oh, no, you didn't.
No, just the movies, sorry.
Let's not be
but by the time
ridiculous.
I moved up here, it was like, I'm
going to the red box.
someone had given me, in my family, they were like, I'm not going to use this Apple gift card. And so I actually rented from Apple, many, because you weren't streaming everything 10 years ago. Right. You were streaming some things, like Netflix, but not all the Disney movies weren't on. Yeah. Disney Plus didn't exist anymore. So I watched all the Marvel movies. Yeah. And by then, there were already 15 or 20 out then. There's
so many.
Yeah. So I'm pretty well versed on Marvel for me. I just, because I've seen them all. And when they come out, I try to go see them, but the kids, it is slower. So we were just talking about, I haven't seen the Thunderbolts yet, but it looked good and I wanted to see it.
It's a good time.
Yes.
Yeah, would recommend.
And I anticipate the Fantastic Four.
Hopefully it'll be fantastic.
We hope so. Anyway, watch party.
Okay.
Not really.
We'll see who makes it to the theaters.
Luke says, okay, that's enough. On to the next thing. So, Luke, you're back.
I'm back.
Was it, can you summarize it in 90 seconds?
Oh, man.
90 seconds.
I don't know.
Baptist World Alliance World Congress was an incredible experience. It should make you proud to be a Baptist, which I think is a label we feel like we have to qualify so much here, especially for our church in the United States.
I like being Baptist. I don't know.
Yeah, but we have to qualify it a lot.
Okay.
You think about your students, you gotta do some unpacking.
I like Baptist theology.
I do too.
I don't know that I'm always proud of the banner.
Okay.
So that's a banner I will wave proudly at World Congress. So
that's great.
Which is a very, very good thing. Baptists globally are up to a lot of good.
I love that.
So,
that's a great summary statement.
Yeah, I'm sure we'll talk about it a lot when Dr. Wiles is back.
Yeah, I would think.
What was the best and worst thing you ate in Australia?
Ooh, the food. Yeah,
Australian coffee is amazing.
Is it local? Like Australian beans?
They don't grow. They're just really good at making it.
Okay.
So there's a debate if New Zealand or Australia invented the flat white.
Okay. What do you think? Now that
I'm gonna side with the Kiwis on this one.
Now that you've been an eyewitness.
Oh yes.
But
to the flat white.
Australian flat white. I didn't go to New Zealand, but they made a compelling case. But man, the coffee's amazing.
I do like good coffee.
I had some really good Indonesian food, which I lived with an Indonesian family for summer. And so had not had good Indonesian food in a really long time. And
but
so
you found it in Brisbane?
Some of the best beef rendang I've had in years, which is it's like chili, but way better.
Nice.
Shots fired.
I guess.
Yeah.
I'm not a big chili guy, so I don't know, but that sounds good.
It's really great. It's like a slow braised beef in spiced aromatic.
What was the worst
sauce.
thing you ate?
There it is.
I gotta know.
Worst thing
Airport
I ate.
food?
Airport food doesn't count.
Oh, okay.
That's a pocket dimension.
I went to this roadside stand thing with some friends, and the food was inexpensive, but it was very just blah.
Bummer.
What was it?
I had chicken skewers and fries.
Okay. Gotcha.
Which could have been really good.
I also
both of
learned
those.
when I ordered a lemonade, I was mistaken because lemonade in Australia is Sprite.
Really?
Yeah. So I wanted lemonade and I got Sprite.
I mean, it is lemon flavored.
Yeah. So if you go to Australia and you want lemonade,
Is it literally a Sprite?
it was literally Sprite.
like
Well,
like they gave you a can of Sprite.
I mean, it came in a glass,
Okay.
but
it
it
was,
was
like,
carbonated sweet.
Okay.
Tasted
Lemon lime.
it was
Okay,
Sprite or
gotcha.
7-Up.
Okay,
I don't
okay,
drink
gotcha.
soda very
I didn't know
often.
they're like, by lemonade,
Literally.
you mean this can of
Yeah.
Sprite.
Like we call everything
interesting.
Coke. It'd be like,
Yeah.
we call it a lemonade.
Yeah, interesting.
Yeah. So there you go. The more you know.
You run the
Don't
show.
order lemonade expecting
Unless you
American
want
lemonade
Sprite.
in Australia unless you want Sprite.
I mean, I ordered, we do grocery delivery because
Yep.
just like it's hard for me to get to the
Obviously,
movies,
yeah.
it's hard for me to get to the grocery store. And so we like seltzer water. It's like a Ryan Hodges, like he just pounds seltzer water, which
Yeah,
is like
same.
Topo Chico or LaCroix. We do the off-brand, whatever. So I ordered like the off-brand Kroger. And this is very fair. The shopper, they were out. And so the shopper just replaced it with like Sprite. But if you look at it, it's off-brand Sprite. So
Right.
you like off-brand soda water. This was like soda water with lime. It's just sweetened. And so we have like we was like 2 cases. So we started with like 24 Sprites, which we're just not big Sprite drinkers at our
Right.
house. This is
Right.
not part of the rhythm of
You're ready to make
Hodges.
some fruit punch, though.
All right.
You know?
I mean, I'm halfway there. Yeah, I'm thinking. Well, anyway, if you come over and you want a Sprite, we like always have one.
I'll bring the Hawaiian punch. and
until
then
the
we'll just
24
throw
go
it together
away.
And
Yeah.
it'll be great.
So, they also ran out of like off-brand seltzer water at Costco, and the lady replaced it with Topo Chico, which is fine
Upgrade.
because we like Topo Chico. But Ryan's like, I feel guilty drinking these, so he's like, I can't. It's too nice. It's too nice. It's like the guest soda water. So anyway, that's enough of that.
Wow.
But
Great week. I'm sure we'll talk about it a lot when Dr. Wiles gets back.
yeah, so we'll give it 2 weeks and then just like jump in.
We'll
That's
be
good.
back. We'll be back in Australia.
Well, okay. We in this little pocket right here, I preached last week.
Oh, yeah.
Connor preached this week, and Luke, you'll preach next week.
This week. This coming week.
So next Sunday, yeah. So we're boom, boom, boom. So I think, and I don't know how much you've looked at it, Luke, but in my mind, when Dr. Wiles put these together, they do have an arc.
Yeah.
It's kind of how I felt. Like Ryan's worship to my belonging to your spiritual formation to Luke's mission is
Yeah.
kind of like that can be like the arc of the Christian life or the church's life. And so anyway, I think it's fun to kind of tag these all together.
Yeah,
and talk about them.
that's pretty cool.
So
Turns out he knows what he's doing when he arranges a sermon series.
perhaps.
Having done it for a while, yeah.
Right. This ain't his first rodeo. It's like his 42nd or something. So, well, where do we want to jump in? I've got lots of notes. Here they
Well,
are.
what are your notes? Let's jump in with your notes
My
first.
iPad was dead yesterday, so I had to take paper
wow.
notes.
Paper.
Apparently better for your memory and recall.
Is paper notes? Mm-hmm. Why?
I don't know.
Oh, okay. Because I take like Apple Pencil notes is the same. Like,
I think it's like the tactile sensation.
all right. Well,
Some people put the frosted glass over their iPad so
do.
it feels more like paper.
would that be good for my brain?
Maybe.
Maybe apparently AI is really bad for your brain.
That makes
yeah,
sense.
yeah,
'Cause it
for
skips
sure.
all the
Yeah.
critical thinking
Don't
steps.
think.
Yeah.
It's actually like I think they're showing that it's decreasing people's cognitive abilities by
Yeah.
like a third.
Yeah, it's bad.
All people's or like people who rely on it?
People who are
You know what I
using
mean?
it routinely.
Because I
Yeah.
use it, but I don't know that
Don't do it.
at all.
Break the
Is that-
habit.
We talked about
Break
AI
the
in here
habit.
last week.
I think,
Tanner
like-
is just anti.
I'm anti.
I think
Are you,
they're
like,
suggesting
completely
that
anti?
like,
Yeah.
using it to create or to like draw things is reducing your cognitive abilities like problem solving, creativity, recall, learning ability by like a third.
What if it's like my toilet broke? Help me fix it. Because that's the last time I really used.
I mean, you're basically using it to like
ChatGPT.
Google at that
Yeah.
point, I guess.
Yeah. Like, is my brain? I think it's a. I will defend it,
Yeah,
but
use
not
the
in here at
tool
this
well.
moment. Yeah, it's a tool, and you can misuse it.
Be cautious.
For sure.
Yeah.
I'm not telling it to like write my master's thesis.
Right.
But
Don't do
like,
that.
it was really helpful and saved me a lot of money. And it helped me fix the toilet.
That's great.
To the
Yeah,
point
yeah.
where it was like, take that red cap off and look underneath it. And I was
Yeah.
like, whoa. And it was
Yeah.
right. And I was like, did that work? No. Okay, you need to go replace this thing, and here's the model.
Wow. Okay. Well,
Okay.
that's
You know what I
cool.
mean?
Some of that's cool. But
And I know, and that's where I'm like, I get a little defensive. Of
To
my,
quote Harry
my
Potter,
friend.
which you audio referenced, never trust anything when you can't see where it keeps its brain.
All right.
Connor!
so what are your notes, Katie?
Well, okay. How'd you feel about getting 2 verses assigned to you?
I mean, that's
It's like a whole
fun.
2 verses. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's fine. I think it's
fine.
good. No, because it's essentially the
Oh, wait, let me
thesis
back up. Can I
statement,
back up?
Right?
How do you feel about verses getting assigned to you? Because that's kind of like some people don't some people have a vision for what they want to preach, and they're like, "Oh, I don't know if I want to be assigned this." It's just
honestly,
fair. Yeah.
if it's a one-off and it's not a series that I've put together, I prefer it because otherwise it's like pick something, and it's like there's too many somethings to pick, and that can be overwhelming for like a one-off sermon.
I feel the same way,
and so
I would rather be told,
yeah,
this is where we're at, and this is what I want you to do.
If I'm doing, Thursday nights at the college ministry, like I have an arc and we're going through a book and stuff like that. So like, okay, well, I know where I'm at, and so I can think about it.
I agree. I agree. What about you, Luke?
I think especially like in the context of a series where you're preaching with other people, it's really helpful. I think for me, what I have to do is D-Dub will give each of us kind of a summary paragraph of where he's going, wanting it to go, which you read it because you need to read
Of course.
it.
Yeah.
My problem is I then have to throw it away because Dennis has such a strong writing voice. Like it's so distinct. Like if you read what Dr. Wiles has written, you're like, he could not put his name on it. I could read and go, oh, Dr. Wiles wrote that.
Mm-hmm.
Sure. Yeah.
That I almost have to put it away because if I just keep coming back to what he's written, I can't get started because I'm just so in the loop of what he's trying to accomplish that I can't get myself started.
Sure.
Yeah.
I get that.
I always put it away because then it's like, what's the text saying for us today?
Yeah.
Not what is Dr. Wells wanting to do, but like what's faithful preaching of this text today.
It's a helpful guide point of like, what
the
did
context?
the Lord reveal to him?
Yeah, and what are you
about
trying to
this?
accomplish?
And making sure I'm not just like way off reservation for that.
Yeah.
But then, going back to text. So for me, when it was like, okay, you got these two verses, reading over it, I read over the whole letter because you're supposed to do that whenever you read some verses out of a letter. You should read the whole letter. It's not that long. But
I did not read all of Romans last week. I'm just going to
okay, that's a longer letter.
I'm just being honest with you.
But reading over those two verses and then reading over the rest of the book, it was like, okay, this is kind of the thesis statement. I felt
kind of
freedom to like, he's alluding to a lot of other stuff that he's about to talk about, so I can pull from some of those things. So I didn't feel overly constrained by it because it was like, okay, it's the end of Peter's life. Let's talk about Peter's life. I felt,
I really enjoyed anytime you can take something like a letter and make it come to life a little more, add a little bit of a narrative behind it,
personify it more.
Yeah. I think it really packs punch, and I think you're able to accomplish that.
Thanks. I never, it was genuinely a cool moment when in the writing process of realizing, oh, his testimony is in these two verses. That whole arc of his life is kind of right there, and I never noticed that before. That was cool.
Yeah, that's really cool. It's good.
Yeah, something I didn't get to get into as much.
Yes, tell us more. The whole point of the podcast.
Let's go.
Something I didn't to get into as much was there's such a great question, and I love my questions.
We love our questions.
My sermons, I'm always asking questions. But in chapter 3, verses 11 through 12, he says, this is towards the end, he says, since everything will be destroyed in this way, what kind of people you ought to be? What kind of people ought you to be? You ought to live godly lives as you look forward to the day of God.
Since everything will be destroyed.
How are you going to live?
Yeah.
And I love that question. And I was like, man, that's so good. I don't think there's space in 30 minutes to like bring that into the conversation as well.
But what if there was space here?
But here,
and now?
right? Yeah. But I think
let's roll.
Go.
But it's so cool, right? Like, I think it harkens to Ecclesiastes, which was my favorite Old Testament book.
Tell us more about that. Out of all the Old Testament
I think that sermon series has still left like a permanent mark on this congregation.
And I was like, this is great. I love Ecclesiastes.
Why do you like it? I mean, really, what's the draw?
I am
I find it likable as well. So it's
naturally
not like
I'm a cynic. And so like,
it meets you there.
It meets me there. It feels approachable. Like all of the Bible is honest. It's all true. But it feels honest as well to me.
Yeah.
It doesn't feel like we're doing wishful thinking sometimes, which is, not the case with scripture. But I think sometimes when you read things like live a godly life or whatever, it's like, okay, but how and why? And like all of that, those kind of questions can kind of come to my mind. Yeah. And Ecclesiastes is just honest of like, hey, this is all going to go away one day. And like nothing you do other than the stuff you do for God really matters at the end of the day. And that's inspiring to me more so than disheartening because it really just refocuses you and puts a lot of like I'm an anxious person, so it kind of like dims some of the anxiety and like puts a focus on what really matters, and realizing that it's in God's hands is helpful to me.
Yeah.
So I think, hearkening back to that always speaks to my heart. Peter says, hey, it's all going to get destroyed. So much of the letter is about the day of the Lord, and about Jesus coming back. And I think it's interesting because, like, especially over the New Testament and the letters and Revelation, like, they were looking forward to Jesus coming back. That was such a key part of the way that they talked about their faith, that maybe it's just the circles that I'm in. We don't usually talk about that as much. That's not as much of a focus. Maybe it's a Western thing. I don't know. But
Luke, what do you think?
I don't know.
Because I agree, we don't talk about it much.
I kind of wonder, like, my theory of it is, like, at least in my circles, is it like an overcorrection from like the early 2000s?
Where there was such an emphasis?
Yeah,
Well, it's
like Left Behind.
You've got to
super
recognize
emphasis.
that's a movement that goes all the way back to like the 1970s.
And I understand that, but I'm saying, like, is there an overcorrection
I think
in
so.
our own way of talking about our faith?
Well, we don't want to be that.
Where people don't want to think, oh, okay, well, are we conspiracy theorists or something?
Yeah.
Did y'all read Left Behind
Yeah.
in like the 90s?
I think I read the kids' versions.
Yeah, my grandma got me the kid version.
Yeah,
it scared me.
Yeah, for sure. It did its job.
The
Was
movies
that the I don't know.
are now hilarious.
They didn't age well.
They don't age well. They're
no.
top tier comedy now.
Yeah.
Okay, not intentionally.
But for those listening that were like, "What's wrong with those books?" You know what I mean? Because that's like formative and it was a big part of like Christian culture. Yeah.
Especially, when I was a kid.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Teenagers.
Yeah. For me. Yeah.
I think one of the things that when we think about theologically what's happening in Left Behind, or even like earlier with like the late great Planet Earth, which was the book in the 1970s, these are all part and parcel of a movement called dispensationalism, which really has its roots in the 1800s. So it starts primarily with like the Scoville reference Bible. It's
Scoville was the spicy stuff.
I've only had one cup of coffee. Scoville units are a measure of heat and food spiciness.
Like a hot sauce measure, right?
Yeah.
Schofield.
I was like,
I didn't mean to like jump. I was like, that's
you're
funny.
right. Someone's going to Google me.
Yeah. Perhaps we should combine them both in a special edition episode.
Dispensationalism is
read that
spicy.
Bible
Yeah,
with that spice. Yeah.
But it basically broke the Bible into several dispensations or eras or epochs of the movements of God, which, like, it's not necessarily the worst thing to do in the world, but it became this like all-encompassing meta-narrative imposed over Scripture, and it had several things in it that we actually reject as a church. Like, one of those is that in this dispensation that we find ourselves in now, the gifts of the Spirit have actually ceased.
Right.
So they're only part of the
like
age
that.
of the apostles.
Yeah.
And Dr. Wiles has taught against cessationism. You can go back to his series on the Holy Spirit last year. That's not something our church believes, but it is an inherent part of dispensationalism. That's actually where that cessationist
that those
track
gifts
comes
were
from.
sufficient for an era. And
They were for one
relevant.
dispensation. That dispensation's over. And basically we're in this, I think, second to last or third. I'm not a good dispensationalist.
Yeah.
I
can't remember if it was my old pastor, if he was quoting somebody or if he just said it. But talking about Dr. Jared Wellman at Tate Springs, he would say that if like the book of Revelation makes you dive into charts and timelines, you're reading it wrong.
Yes.
It's more about like, and he did his doctorate, one of his doctorates, on the book of Revelation.
Wow.
So
he's,
that was interesting.
got
But like, I think it's more about like, are we understanding that one day everything is going to be made right and that Jesus is going to return? Yeah. I think that much is clear. The hows and all that kind of wins are. Like
we actually,
Jesus said he
for,
didn't
for the Clusters Women's Bible Study that I've promoted and will promote here in a minute. The text that Cindy Dake puts it together for us and has all 11 years we've done it, but it has the text she chose for us last week was a Revelation passage, and it was about the imagery of the throne room, and kind of
really enjoyed it.
The presence. I was like, Cindy, this is unexpected. That's all I mean by that. Cindy, what are you doing? But it was actually really fun for the ladies, like a very different passage of like thinking about the holiness and righteousness and majesty of God. But there were some questions in the room from the one that I led about like, how literally are we supposed to take all this? What's the deal? And it was helpful. The room kind of agreed, and it wasn't just me like teaching, but it was like, yeah, if it's like National Treasure, where you're trying to like use this to like go find the throne room, like you've done it wrong, you know. But if it's more about who God is,
right,
and what it's like to be with Him.
Not to get on a full tangent of it, but Revelation, it's the revelation of Jesus, not the revelation of the end times.
That's
like,
good.
It's about Jesus. And
you can roll with that tangent.
And I think Scott McKnight would even expand on that and say it's about living as a faithful follower of Jesus in the midst of Babylon and the evil powers of this world until they are made right.
Yeah. And if you veer too far from that.
Three preachers in the room, how do we incorporate the return of Jesus more into our teaching?
Well, that was one of my questions for you, because you mentioned like anticipating Jesus' return. That's how you worded it.
I think maybe you're just unapologetic about it a little bit, because Peter's like, he's coming back. I'm gonna
counter your question with a question.
Here we go.
And is it? I mean, is it really a speculatory? Like, it is kind of spooky, scary to think about this. Like, it is very supernatural and very other, and perhaps we have minimized the supernatural and the other, and because Jesus' humanity is more palatable.
Yeah, sure.
In our culture right now, because like Jesus is great.
Yeah,
and he is really, the whole like, I like your Jesus, I don't like your Christians. Or I like your Christ, I don't like your Christians. Like, I think that's really hot right now, and probably very true.
Sure.
And Jesus should be beloved. He's just the best. But all that to say, when you start getting into the supernatural, and it's like, well, yeah, Jesus is good, and maybe he even was raised from the dead in that one supernatural event. But the idea that he would be in some fourth space right now, fourth dimension, and is like going to return, and somehow this freaky deaky whatever is going to happen in the sky, and you know what I mean? Like, it's all a little too much.
Sure.
For our modern,
I don't know.
palate.
Then I think it's hard to take any of the Bible then. Like, if that's too much, right? Yeah. Like, I'm not saying that's what you're saying.
No, but that's my speculation.
Yeah, because I think it comes back to like, what's the purpose of a gathered church at that point? Is it for the outsider? Or is it for believers? I think
Stay
it's more
for next week.
Yeah, I think it's for believers. Spoiler, maybe that's my position. I don't know, whatever. But I think it's like, if you're gathering in a community of believers, it's supposed to be about, hey, let's huddle, and then let's go and disperse and go live out what we've learned here. And I think
Luke, what do you think?
A key motivating
for next week.
I think a key motivating factor for a believer, right? Like, saying Jesus is coming back one day, that should drive you to some urgency. How should you live if everything's going to be destroyed? Live rightly, Like, I think that is, it's the foolishness to the world, but like, it's the wisdom of God, for us. And so, I don't know, like, it's compelling to me, and it's, I'm thinking through this coming fall and trying to think through what we're going through the book of Acts all of the next academic year in the college ministry, focusing on mission, living sent, all that kind of stuff. We're going to have a new shirt that has the Great Commission on the back. It's going to be sick. But
can others purchase it?
Yes.
Or just college students?
Yeah, we're going to do it. I'm excited about it. Okay. Shelby designed something awesome, so I'm excited for it to
way to go, Shelby,
to actualize in the physical world.
Wow. Speaking of,
but yeah, like I want to figure out for myself some of like, how am I going to weave that into the conversation with the college students? Because I think that they want you to just tell you, they want to just be told the truth. Like, hey, we do believe Jesus is coming back. Like, that's a thing.
Yeah.
How and all those kind of things. There's a lot of theories about that. But like, if he's coming back, then that should motivate you to urgency in this time of life and some of those things. I don't know. Just, it was a thought that I was like, man, this is such a big part of 2 Peter, which is kind of a weird letter. It's like, along with Jude and Revelation, it's kind of like weird letters in the New Testament. And I think we can just stray away from the future conversation a little bit. Yeah. But I don't know.
I think it's a good question to reflect on. I'd love for our listeners and viewers to think about it as well. So, okay, I'm going to pause us because we need to give a little promo.
Okay.
Because this podcast is sponsored by...
It is?
First Baptist Church Arlington.
Okay.
Yes. Your generosity sponsors everything we do, including this podcast. And so, no, we kind of just pause halfway and talk about like what's coming up in the life of the church or what people can be involved in. I just talked about clusters. There's 2 to 3 more, depending on, we're halfway through a week. So there's we're in the middle of it, I'd say. And that's a really easy way for women to get plugged in. And you can check
Patients went this past week, really enjoyed it.
Good. That's so good. Yeah. And there's kind of morning, noon, and night, online, in person, whatever. So you can find hopefully something that works for your family schedule. Pastor's Bible Studies rolling on Wednesdays. Ryan Chandler's teaching tomorrow. So that's been fun. If you're kind of able to get away for a long lunch break, or if you're retired or off in the summer, whatever it is, then that could be really fun. That's at noon in our fellowship hall. Again, like Luke, you're preaching. So I mean, I don't want to skip past July because there's a lot of good in July, and there's really a lot to. We always kind of say in here, like, don't just take a break from your spiritual routines, your spiritual life in the summer, just because it's summer. Like, there's a lot to do and ways to grow, and of course, the kids have a lot of. The kids and youth, I think they're wrapping up some of the big events, but they've had a great summer and there's always stuff to do. So, but then we're also looking forward to the fall.
Here we go.
So if you're a teacher, then August 3rd is a big training for you. And then the last weekend in August is also a big training because we have Todd Stehr here. We've talked about that in here a little bit. If anybody wants to go to the Todd Stehr thing, they can. You just have to buy your own meal if you're not a teacher. And so,
who is Todd Stehr?
Dr. Todd Stehr, I think we've said it in here, but if this is your first time ever listening, Dr. Todd Stehr is Dean of Truett Seminary. He's a New Testament scholar, pretty widely respected Pauline scholar, but he's actually coming to teach us on the book of John. They're going to do the farewell discourse, kind of the upper room of John and John's take on Jesus and his disciples. So pretty excited about that. But that's Todd Stehr. And, if y'all have a long institutional history here, Todd and his wife Carolyn were members here when he taught at DBU. And so there's a friendship there for a lot of people as well. So he plays a good, he's one of us in that way. And also like not in like the brilliant scholar kind of way. So he's coming up for the last weekend in August. And then Fresh Start Sunday, look for a Bible study, great time to get plugged in. There's just a ton there. And then midweek starts after Labor Day. So
September 3rd.
Yeah.
It's going to come quick. We're just looking at some grief share divorce care stuff, and it's happening.
It's rolling.
Yeah, I just would give a good invitation of like, if you're listening to us, you're probably somehow connected to us.
Yeah.
But I bet there's extremely varying levels of connectedness. Yeah. And so just take one more step to be.
College small groups start on the 17th.
If you're a college student,
and then
show up.
August 17th. And then
jumping right
Thursdays are back on the 21st.
That's awesome.
When are y'all having steak night?
Yep. August 27th. Dollar Steak Night. Coming back.
I saw them filming the promo video for it.
Did you get that big flamethrower out again?
Yeah.
Or whatever you call it?
Well, we got a new flamethrower. And
just for this?
No, it's my father-in-law's.
Oh.
But he got one for his, I think, 65th birthday. Don't want to misspeak on the age, but he got one for his birthday, and I was like, can I borrow it for the sake of the gospel? And also because it's cool.
Yeah.
So, we got another flamethrower. We threw a steak off of the parking garage for the video. So
I can't wait to see it.
Yeah, it's going to be fun.
I want to see how all this comes together.
I'm excited.
Yeah.
Well, I love it.
So speaking of college ministry, while we have time, I think one of the things that you do so well in college ministry that probably not everyone who listens to the podcast or everyone who goes to our church is aware of is you just have this really clear and methodical, well thought through and fruitful kind of strategy and culture for discipleship in the college ministry. And I was wondering if you would be willing to kind of unpack what you do, why you do it, and the fruit you're seeing as a result.
It's a secret. I can't tell. I'm just kidding.
Trade secrets.
Very,
college
very
ministry.
controlling.
Baptist
Oh
Arlington.
my gosh, no. I thought about that question, but also as it relates to, I think the action point from the sermon was like, how are you going to live on mission? And I've mentioned a lot of different things that you could do, like neighborhood chaplain, some of those kind of things. And I think I said towards the end of it is like, man, all of our college students are doing these things already. Not all of them, but like that's a tenor of the community. And I think it's because like when I got to the college ministry, I think the structure for like a leadership team was kind of like everybody has their own little jobs. Like, do you have an assignment you're going to do? Yeah. You're in charge of community. You're in charge of welcoming someone, stuff like that. I think it's an okay structure, but it's limited in the number of people that can be part of it. It's kind of like a church staff structure almost. And also like they're volunteers, and I think you can, I don't know. My main thought with it was do do the college students of today actually want that sort of a role when it comes to leadership, or are they wanting a structure that helps them grow? And I think Gen Z more wants the structure that helps them grow. I think millennials really wanted to be in on like the decision making and the planning and like, hey, we're doing this thing. And in my experience, Gen Z more wants well, you have the plan, we will help you execute the plan, which is kind of an interesting kind of paradigm shift with it. Yeah. But all that to say, it took a while to develop where we are today with it, which is I kind of had the thought maybe about a year and a half, 2 years into the role here, I was like, what do I want a college student to be like at the church that they end up going to or stay here by the time they graduate? And how do I get them there?
Yeah. Who you want them to be?
Yeah. And realistically, you're probably not going to be going to a college Bible study every week and being pseudo on staff somewhere and like all this kind of stuff, like this like kind of an over-committed style of ministry that can happen within college ministries. And instead I was like, well, I think a really good church member, in my view, like a really good Christian and church member is somebody who is committed to following the Lord, like having a regular quiet time. They're being poured into by an older believer and have somebody that they can talk to about what's going on with life. They're pouring out in their life and investing in the spiritual life of one other person at least, in my view. I think I asked the question on Sunday, if I were to ask you, who are you discipling? Can you answer that with a name? And then the other aspect of it was, are they, as a church member, are you helping remove barriers to community, or are you putting them up? I want them to be removing those barriers, and I want them to have some voice in, like, where are we going? Like, what are we doing? What's a fun event? Some of those kind of things. And so I think from that to that end is how we designed the Disciple Makers team. We call it Disciple Makers because I want the students to identify themselves as a disciple maker for 4 years.
That's the emphasis you want for them. Yeah,
I want them to define themselves as a disciple maker for 4 years, not lead team or something, but I'm a disciple maker. They call themselves out for 4 years so that by the end of it, that's a label that can stick for the rest of your life.
Just who I am.
Yeah, that's who we are. And so, that's how we've designed this structure where a college student, usually after a semester or so, will apply for lead team. It's pretty open-ended. We recruit broadly because it's more about growing people. And so I think this coming year, we have 20 students on our Disciple Maker team.
Cool.
And so each of those students commits to 1 hour a week investing in the spiritual life of another person. That could be leading a small group Bible study on campus. It could be helping out with youth ministry or children's ministry or worship ministry, or one-on-one discipling somebody. One of the things that we've done since last semester was, as a community, we fast and pray on Tuesdays for lunch. Like, instead of having lunch, wherever we are, we're fasting, we're praying for God to save somebody and to bring us somebody to disciple. And then when somebody is saved and baptized, we bring up one of our lead team students, and most of them have agreed to do this, to be up in the baptistry and kind of receive that student as they come
I've been
out
up there
of the water.
with that. It's a great imagery.
Yeah,
if nothing else, it's a great imagery.
And then they go through a 5-week study with them, which is kind of like, here's the basics of your faith. Hey, here's all my friends. Let's get connected.
Yeah.
And so yeah, like they commit to those things. They commit to being at Thursdays and Sundays more often than they're not. I'm not asking for a specific amount of attendance, but they come more often than they're not. You can't be a leader.
But you know it. You feel it when it's not. Yeah.
I tell them, like, you can't be a leader in a place that you're not present,
Yeah.
And then they're removing barriers to, they're removing barriers to community. What I tell them is that it takes courage to walk through our doors. No matter what, like, people have made a decision. Every college student that comes and every person that visits our church decided to do that when they could have done something different. And there's a lot of really easy things to do that are different than going to church. And so we need to honor that courage and, like, make the hardest part about visiting walking up to the door, and the rest of it's super easy, And I think our college students do a good job with that. And then each college student is assigned a mentor. So somebody older in our church. A lot of our staff members do this. I know, Luke, you're mentoring somebody. I mentor a couple of guys, but we pair them up so that they meet 1 hour a week with a mentor that just kind of asks them, hey, how's your spiritual life going? How's your battle with sin? how's that disciple making thing you said you were doing? Those kind of checks in. And then, I don't know, like it's yielded a lot of really solid growth in those that have been part of it. It's pretty rare for somebody to say, I don't want to do it anymore.
It's always a good sign.
Yeah.
How long have you been doing it now?
This exact iteration, probably, I guess this will be the second year of this exact iteration that we have here, but about half the time I've been here.
Yeah. So you're seeing it. It's gone on long enough that it's somewhat proven at this point.
I think so. And it like our students know what it is now.
Yeah.
So it's not
good.
What is this?
Well, when we talk about, since we have you here, obviously, and you've just laid out this very compelling, and I said this on Sunday, and I just mean it. Like, when I left the college ministry, I put a lot of blood, sweat, and tears, particularly COVID college ministry.
Yeah.
And so, I cared a lot about what would happen after, and I just am very thankful, truly, that that God brought you here and that you're rolling with it. So that's I just mean it. I'm really just happy about it.
Yeah.
I am. But since you've just kind of laid out a lot of like what your aspirations are, can you tell us like specific prayer requests that for those that are listening, like as you go into the fall, maybe even just for you, Connor, because I think we could parse prayer requests out of everything you've just talked about. Like obviously that you're preaching through Acts would be effective, your fasting on Tuesdays would be effective, that there'd be new believers, a new disciple. But like for you as the leader, like what can we as a church and those, it baffles me that people actually listen to this, but they do. So there are like, I don't know, by the end of a week, like 100, 200 people that actually are committed to, I think would pray for you, particularly you and patience, whatever that is. So like, what could we be praying for you as you try to accomplish all of this that God's put in your heart?
I think to be really transparent, it's really easy to get caught up in how many people are there on Thursday, how many people are there on Sunday or whatever. And I always try to keep in mind to minister to the people that are in the room. Not the people that I wish was there or whatever. Yeah. And so the allure of that mindset is very compelling and like it's taxing as well on I think any minister. But I think in the midst of starting a semester, you're definitely like, okay, well, how are we doing? And numbers aren't always the best way of actually tracking how you're doing in ministry. Right. Yeah. And
but there is a temptation there.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. Right. And so it was interesting, I've been prayer walking UTA every day over the summers for the last, I think for every year that I've been here. And yesterday I was prayer walking in the heat and there was no clouds at all in the sky. And the theme of this summer has been interesting. It's the pouring out is the thing that the Lord keeps putting to my mind, is pouring out his Spirit on UTA. For the last several years, it's been like this interesting imagery of a progression of, I think the first year was like, in my head was a lot about the soil and like the parable of the sower and some of those things. Another year after that was the parable of like the seed of like God brings the growth and some of those things. And then another year after that was similar kind of thoughts with that. But then this year, it seems like the predominant thing that the Lord keeps saying over and over is about pouring out his Spirit. And as I was walking in the heat with no clouds, I was like, it doesn't look like it's going to rain today. And it was a reminder of, I need to still ask for rain, even when it doesn't look like it's going to rain. Like, am I praying with faith that like God could cause rain out of thin air? Am I going to have that kind of faith even in the midst of whatever is going to happen this fall? Because there could be all sorts of things that happen every fall, Sure. I remember my first fall here, speaking of rain, we had this whole plan for like canvassing the campus and going out. We printed thousands of flyers, and then it was record rainfall for that first day, like flash floods all over campus. Like you're not walking anywhere, and so maybe not praying for that kind of rain, but I am praying for like the pouring out of God's Spirit on me, on Pierce, on our college leadership. But I think, for me personally, it's making sure that my identity is not tied up with work. It's not tied up with the success of whatever the numbers are. But it's more about how am I discipling these 20 students and the rest of them as well. They're all important. But how am I discipling this group of people that God's given me for this semester, because it changes every semester, to help be fruitful. And I'm only going to do that if the Spirit is poured out on me and on our community. And like none of this, it's all a bunch of cool t-shirts and catchy lines if it's not
fun stuff to do.
if it's not the Spirit. And so
It's good.
Praying for those things and asking for God to do something that's bigger than any of us.
Cool. That's great. Thank you.
Maybe so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I think that's a great way to end it. Good. Well, we're grateful to have you in here, Connor.
That's fun. It's always fun to be here.
And we hope to have you again, in the next little bit. So, blessings as you kick off the school year.
Thank you.
And thanks for putting the work in and preaching an effective sermon yesterday.
Oh, man. It was so fun.
Okay, good. Well, we'll see y'all next week where we put Luke on the spot.
Here we go.
I'll still say in this chair.
We'll see. Have a good week. Thanks for listening to the Tell Me More podcast today. You can subscribe to this podcast on your app of choice, or you can visit us at fbca.org to find out more information about the podcast and our church. Thanks for listening. Have a good day.